Hello and welcome to the Captain's Table, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Berserker01 Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of Twitch. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We got a good one for you because this is the Captain's Table where we're talking about Star Citizen. I bring people from all over the Star Citizen universe to talk about Star Citizen. Today I've got two brand new faces of the Captain's Table, but not new faces to Star Citizen. Mr. Darissa and I think I did it right. I spelled it right. And the real KG. And we'll be talking about as you can tell by the thumbnails, if you're watching this after the fact, or the title, we're going to be talking a little bit about logistics in Star Citizen and its kind of impact that we're going to start to see with 319 going forward, goods and bads. But before we get that all started, let's start with introducing. Let's start with you, Mr. Darissa. Dar, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
Well, I'm Darissa. I play Star Citizen. I'm not a content creator, but if you're looking to hear my voice, at least I'm on KG stream all the time. So, on Discord and in the background. I think there's some sound bites that you can play of my voice as well, for channel points. But yeah, I've been playing for about 2 years now, I guess, coming up on 2 years. It's just kind of like the game that we always dreamed of playing, and we play it and we talk about it, and yeah.
Awesome. And what's the org again that you're part of? I know you
yeah, FDI, Frontier Defense Industries. It's just a bunch of us friends. We get get together and play most nights, and we don't have like we're not a RP kind of org. It's just kind of whatever we get into, whatever events are running, whatever sounds fun. We almost never accomplish what we set out to, but something else,
something else happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And KG, the real KG, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
I stream on Twitch every day, but I just play Star Citizen and just do random shenanigans, honestly. Okay. I just like to create chaos for everyone else that's playing with.
A chaos gremlin?
Yeah, I'm a chaos gremlin, more or less, yeah. Or I just have chat shut down my ship all the time and I die consistently. So that's also good.
And where can they find you?
At twitch.tv TheRealKG.
Awesome.
/real.
Yeah. All right. So, as I said, we're going to talk about logistics and stuff like that. But before we can get into that discussion, CIG recently announced and started to discuss the big changes to 319. One of the big changes to 319 is using tractor beams to change your loadouts through things like swap out weapons and equipment, like specific components, outside of ships using tractor beams and such, as well as being able to use that to salvage components and parts from destroyed or soft death ships. So before we get started, let's just hear your general kind of take on that. We'll start with you, KG. What is your overall thoughts on that? Goods, bads, that kind of just your immediate thoughts.
I think it's a good start to like swapping components and other like missiles and guns and all that stuff, but I would like to not see it stick that way. Okay. I don't know if they have changes for the future.
What would you hope to see for the future then?
I would like to see it to where like you can hire like NPCs, or you do it yourself, or you can actually like physically move it with like by hand and not have to use like a tractor beam.
Okay.
Like more of a physical thing.
More of a physical thing. No beams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Darissa, your thoughts on this initial implementation?
I mean, I was really surprised that they're kind of jumping into it. It's kind of like they have ship munching on the progress tracker, but they didn't even really have this mentioned that they were working on it. And it's a big part of salvage, and I think it's going to make components really valuable. My first thought was breaking into people's parked ships and stealing their quantum drives would be really funny. I think there's a lot of potential in the game now, and it's kind of it kind of shows the way they're developing systems where they can just kind of like they've developed everything to work together, and now with PES they can almost hit a switch and like, oh hey, we can actually do that now. Ships have item ports, you can take things out of item ports, you can put things on item ports, oh hey, that works.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right, let's talk about how this might change in like the how Star Citizen plays in 3.19, because I've at least I think a lot of people are still kind of grasping with the idea of what this means. So we'll start with you, Darissa, on this one. What do you think this means for 3.19? What do you think? How do you think this is going to change the experience of Star Citizen?
I mean, I think it could really change it a lot. There's shipwrecks are going to be valuable because components are valuable. An XL1 is what, like 100,000. The FR series of shields are all pretty expensive. If you shoot down someone's ship and they've upgraded their components and you can get them out, that's potentially. I outfitted a Redeemer. It's over 1 million AUEC to outfit a Redeemer, and if you can steal that from someone, that's a lot of potential money. I kind of hope they rebalance component costs or something, because honestly, you think about like, okay, go kill a hammerhead in an ERT, soft death it, float over, steal all the big components, sell them. That's probably 500K.
Yeah.
It could almost completely trivialize the economy, which, I mean, that is what it is. It's an alpha, but I think there's a lot of potential for unintended consequences. But it's cool. It's really cool.
Okay. KG, how do you think this is going to change the experience in 3.19 going forward with Star Citizen?
I think it's going to change drastically. I think that, like what Dar said, being able to steal components just from like NPCs and selling components for X amount of money, like it's going to be pretty insane. And being able to use them in your own ships as well, because it just eliminates the ability to having to go and purchase all that stuff and spend millions of AUEC outfitting your ship when you could just steal it from an NPC ship, another player's ship. It's going to be pretty different for sure. And then same with like the missiles thing, you won't really have to rearm as much anymore either, because you could just steal missiles off of ships. Maybe even like with like ballistic guns, if they haven't used all the ammo, they could pull the guns off. And I don't know how the ammo thing is going to work.
Yeah,
it's just going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dar.
Just not having to fight restocking missiles, which hasn't actually been a problem for me in 3.18, but being able to restock your own missiles completely eliminates the classic, like, you land, you rearm, you store your ship, you re-equip the missiles, it doesn't work, you claim the ship to get the missiles back.
Also going to make it so that you can turn like a Carrack into basically like a small shop, like kind of like a merchantman kind of thing. Like before those ships get released, you can turn any big ship into like a merchant shop and sell that stuff to players. So it creates a lot of different gameplay loops.
Yeah, you can buy components and sell them to pirates, so they don't have to make the trip to New Babbage or get things out of Cousin Crow's that a crime stat player can't reasonably access.
Okay. Do you think, let's listen more about like 3.19, because we don't know a ton. We know what we know from them is that you can remove these and you can lock them and such. But there's still a couple things in the air. I'll start with you in this, KG. What else would you like to know about this feature that CIG has not talked about yet? Things that might change your opinion on this addition in 3.19.
I guess like my one question would be like what you said with locking them. Doesn't the tractor beam have like some sort of tool that or the multi-tool attachment have a tool where you can cut stuff, like the little cutting thing? Yes. Are you able to cut locks off of like locked components to be able to steal those components? Like, is that going to be part of the gameplay when they release like being able to take components out? Like, that's my ultimate question, at least with pre-existing gameplay loops that we have.
being able to like force remove it no matter what the status is.
Yeah, like how you can like cut a door open or whatever. Like, are you able to cut like some sort of lock off of whatever the locked components or what it's locked behind or whatever?
Okay. Dars, same question.
My big question is, for ships that, your favorite ship, the Redeemer, as an example, has size 3 components upstairs in the back. I don't think a size 3 quantum drive is going to fit down the ladder in a Redeemer. Are they going to, the Carrack is a good example too. I don't think the size 3s will be able to, pull them out of the back of the engineering area and get them all the way down that tunnel and out the front. Maybe it's possible, but it's got squeeze. And, they've talked in the past about, I think the Redeemer specifically supposed to have like hatches on the top that open or something, but
you're breaking up a little bit.
Are they going to implement that?
Dar. You're kind of going.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, I think you're good now, but I'll double check something. But yeah, go ahead and do this. There we go. That should be a little better. You were talking about like size 3. Like some aspects of like the Carrack and that kind of stuff. You aren't able to remove them. Now I do know that we won't be able to remove size 3 components, at least for this next patch. But that is a good question, I think, going forward as well. How are you going to be able to do that?
Yeah. I mean, they were kind of unclear on the size components you'd be able to remove, because I think they have like ship sizes. I think they have like different internal references to component sizes, but
yeah. Last I heard it was 0 to 2 was what I heard.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that might be how they're getting around that issue, is it's the bigger ships that have like access issues.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the next major part. How do you see this changing going forward? How do you see this evolving? Because first obviously the first one is just more like adding components, removing components, maybe even have some economy or even restocking, adding a lot more availability to the gameplay. How do you see moving forward this gameplay evolving beyond just multi-tool with the tractor beam moving stuff around? Start with you, Dar.
I mean, I think it's going to tie into the other stuff they've been talking about. It's obviously it's kind of a first step of engineering gameplay. Eventually we're going to be pulling out fuses or replacing broken components. Physicalized damage will play heavily into, having to replace components. It doesn't happen often now that you actually have a broken component, because your ship is, will blow up before that happens. But, it's definitely like a step 1 or step 0 for, the bigger gameplay systems, kind of a crew focus that they've talked about for a long time.
Okay. KG, how do you think this is going to evolve, over the next, let's just say over this next year or so, with this gameplay?
I don't know. It could go like 2 ways. It could just evolve. Like, my brain's not working right now.
It's okay.
Kind of like what Dar said, I guess. I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm kind of like, I'm mixed on it. Like I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's move on to the next question then. Let's talk a little more about what are some of the advantages of going forward? Like, obviously, this is the first step in a many-step process that CIG is going to do. What might be the advantages of this source of gameplay? What are some of the good things that can come out of this gameplay beyond the current, what's going to be coming in 3.19? In 3.20, 4.0, beta launch, the full game of Star Citizen. What are some of the things that this is going to kind of enable for players? We'll start with that one. We'll start with you, KG, on that one.
Multi-crewing. I think multi-crewing is gonna make that a lot more useful. You're gonna be able to actually have like people doing more or less like engineering kind of stuff with swapping components out. Because I'm gonna guess that if you're gonna have component damage by that point, right?
Mhm.
Like I don't know if they did. I don't know if they said anything for 319 with component damage, but
I
it
don't think it
seems that
is.
way.
Maybe,
Yeah, I don't. It
'Cause
could be. I don't. It just. I don't know.
Is it currently?
If they do, huh?
Isn't there currently component damage? Can't you currently like damage your components?
You can. I think it's mostly with distortion and ballistic weapons, though. I've
Okay.
never really seen it happen with repeaters.
Okay.
But I have had issues where like coolers have gotten damaged and like weapons and stuff not being able to recharge, and even
Okay.
like power plants getting damaged. But yeah, I think it's gonna just expand the whole multi-crew aspect of running like big ships.
Do you see people actually buying like multiple versions of their coolers or quantum drives or shield generators and like keeping them in storage now, or do you think that's like even like 319 and beyond, or do you think that it's mostly going to be people focusing on like repairing those things?
I think people are gonna actually start buying like multiple stocks of that stuff for sure. Like at least for me, I'm definitely gonna be buying more than one component of each kind for each ship.
Okay.
I think people overall will do, your average player is going to do what they see as the easiest or the most effective way. People really like min-maxing, and if repairing components is the best way to do it, they'll repair components. If just replacing things is the best way to do it, that's what they'll do. If just claiming your ship is still the best way to get things repaired, then that's what they'll do.
I have a question with the claiming though. Like, I don't know if they said anything about it, but say your components get stolen. When you claim your ship, is your ship coming back with no components, or is it coming back with those components that were stolen?
That's a good question.
Like, I don't know how they're going to implement that. Because if it comes back with no components on it, then you're going to have to go buy all that stuff again and re-outfit it.
Or maybe it defaults to the default loadout. Because that's a question that's still up in the air
the
as
stock
well.
loadout, yeah.
Yeah, this question's up in the air. If you have a bunch of custom components, we don't know if that'll return in 319. I think everyone's assuming that's still going to be the case because CIG hasn't said anything. But that is a good question, though. Like, say you have a custom cooler that you purchase because you like that process. I don't think it does anything now, but you buy a custom thing because you like the color, right? It doesn't matter. And that gets stolen. Does that mean when you reclaim the ship that's gone now because it's saves its status from that because it was the last one?
Yeah. I wonder too if they're gonna make it so that you can insure like your components as well.
I think that's definitely going to be the case in the future. But I don't know if that's going to be 319 because
I hope they go to resetting to stock loadout at some point. Particularly for 319. I think going back to people are going to do the most efficient thing to make money. If you can claim your ship, or if you can pull your ship out, take all the components out, sell them, claim it, get them back, people are going to do that. If you remember Luminalia, what was it, like a year, not this year, but last year, and the packages were like, 10,000 UEC? People were spending literally hours running around the capital city picking up packages to grind money, like to the point where CIG was like, knock it off, and they toned down how much money they sold for. Like, people will do the most boring, mind-numbing, dumb thing to grind money in Star Citizen if you let them. And I think the obvious way to stop that is just make your ship reset to the default loadout when you claim it.
Also, though, if they keep that in play, like at least what they have in play for right now, like when you swap components out in your ship, you can't actually sell those stock components. No. So if they just keep it that way, then you're not going to be able to pull your ship, take your components out, and claim it, and then sell those components because you already can't.
They actually specifically talked about that, where like they make it so that I think they make it so possibly in 319 that you can, but by doing so, it's a crime. So
that's actually a good way of doing it.
It's
Yeah.
illegal to do it. So you'd have to go to a place that has no questions asked terminals to do that, and
then make like a less profit on it.
probably
and,
less profit on it, that it's worthwhile and stuff. So
that's actually a good idea for a start.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's
I
what
can definitely see it changing like in the future, but I would agree with that. That's actually cool.
I think we already asked you, KG. I think, or was it Dar? I can't remember who was talking about. I think it's Dar, because we talked about like this long term. KG said physicalized, like multi crew gameplay and such. So, the same question for you. What do you think long term this means for this kind of gameplay? Where's this leading to?
Yeah, it's definitely leading to multi-crew engineering gameplay. That's definitely like a clear focus, at least for this year, for them is the engineering gameplay. That's probably why they're enabling this now. They're just kind of putting this out ahead of, I guess the Hammerhead is going to have engineering gameplay first, but it's kind of the beginnings of what's going to make multi-crew gameplay. I think anything that changes how much you value shipwrecks is really good. The SRV coming out hopefully with 319 as well. Is that's going to add gameplay, but I think anything that is going to bring players together in a way that might create conflict or might create cooperation is it's a good thing for the game.
So do you think this is? I'll ask you this question, Dara, and then I'll ask KG about this. Do you think this is going to force players to work together more?
I hope so. I think, the magic of the game, the times where you have the most fun are when you are around other players. I never played the game by myself personally. I'm just kind of not that kind of gamer. I'm a very social gamer, but my best memories in Star Citizen are at Jump Town or at Xenothreat, or some shenanigans we got up to with the org or whatever. And I think CIG needs to, like, the best thing they can do is create systems and create missions or whatever that put people in the same space and see what happens, because it is so freeform as a game.
KG, same question. Do you think this is going to force people to work together more?
I think it will, but I also worry about the players that don't have many people to play together or play with.
How so?
I worry that it's kind of just gonna like screw those kind of people over. Like it makes it feel like they're trying to force like more people to do more multi-crewing stuff. Even I don't know. I have like a feel bad feeling in my gut for like the people that don't like playing with other people and just kind of want to like the space trucker that just wants to kind of look solo.
Okay,
So
okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say that leads into my next question, which I'll ask you for this one, KG. Is what are some of the downsides this could lead to? What are some negative effects that this could lead to in the distant future, like finished game, Star Citizen sort of things? What are things that you're worried about this sorts of gameplay?
I think like I said, I think it just kind of screws over like the player, the casual player that just wants to cruise by themselves and doesn't have anybody to help them on any kind of multi-crew aspect when they're actually flying like big ships, which kind of sucks because like for the C2, I don't know, I think it's a max crew of 2, but like a lot of people just want to run like a C2 or whatever for cargo running. Like if they run into any kind of issues, they're not going to have anybody that's going to be able to run around and do some kind of engineering stuff. They're just maybe not social enough or whatever it is. I don't know. I just kind of I have like the worry for some of those players that just don't want it, like don't have many friends that play it or don't have any friends that play it.
Okay, same question for you, Dar.
Yeah, I mean, I see that as a downside. I think I worry that there's a lot of people who play, only take the game as it is now and don't really know like what is planned, and the or people who imagine that things are going to be easier for solo players than they will be. The space dad that bought a BMM and talks about how he's going to crew it with an NPC crew and fly around the verse selling his wares. That's like probably never going to be an efficient or they've kind of said that yeah, NPC crew are going to be a thing, but no, they're probably not going to just crew your entire ship for you, or you're not going to have a whole fleet of NPC crewed ships. It's an MMO. It's always been an MMO. And that naturally involves other people. I imagine that if you're a solo player, you're going to be kind of limited to smaller ships. Maybe large size like honey size and down, but I would hope that there will be a disadvantage to trying to solo larger ships in the future. I could see that being a negative for people who don't want to play with other people, but it is an MMO.
Yeah. Okay. We'll ask the final question, kind of wrap up this discussion before we move on to the question and answers. And I'll start with you in the Star. Overall, do you think this is a positive or negative addition to Star Citizen?
Oh, it's super positive. It's really cool. I got really excited watching that ISC where they showed it off, and it feels like this year is turning into kind of like, this is all the stuff we can do now that entities persist. Okay. And I'm personally really excited about cargo gameplay evolving more, and I imagine the work they're doing with tractor beams will play into that, because I think tractor beams are going to be a big factor in loading and unloading ships and everything. But it's the systemic gameplay features are the things that get me the most excited for the game, more than ships or locations or anything. Stanton's really big. There's a lot we could do with more systems, and this is them directly adding a new system to the game. That's or a new way to interact with existing systems, really.
I haven't really been able to play with a lot of 318 until very recently, but I did an 18-hour stream the other day, and one thing I was doing, I was flying around, was like, there are so many derelict ships. Like,
everywhere.
Those ships in 319, those ships are going to be just stripped to the bone. Like, people just going to be like, yes, mine, especially if they have the SRV working. So yeah, I could definitely see that this is that kind of a positive change, because it'll be, for everyone, will be like, finally, that ship is not blocking my exit when I'm trying to get out of the cargo bay, the hangar bay,
or even the ones that are just blocking like the entrance to bunker missions.
Yeah.
Like half the time you can't even get in a bunker because there's a blown up ship just sitting in front of it.
It's amazing how much that makes the world feel more lived in. It's sometimes it's annoying, and all of the empty white ships sitting around all those spaceports are kind of weird, but rolling up to a bunker and realizing how many people die in bunkers flying Auroras, based on the wrecks, it's really cool. It's like every place you go tells a little bit of a story of what might have happened. Last night we were out as a group, and before I got on, they killed an Idris, and I think they were doing missions that killed an Idris, and we were working on salvaging it, and I was kind of just flying around and running cover. But the way the Idris wreck landed on the planet almost looked like it was put there on purpose. And it was a little bit of Star Citizen jank. Some of the pieces were bouncing around a little bit, but it was really impressive. I landed next to the wreck a couple of times, and it's just so cool, and it's another example of like things that they coded a long time ago that we never saw, like the shipwrecks after a ship hard deaths. Like, you see the cool Idris explosion, then the wreck disappears immediately. Well, it turns out there was a pretty well modeled wreck in there, and it'll land on a planet and look like a shipwreck. It's cool as shit.
KG, same thing. Do you think this is an overall positive or a negative for Star Citizen?
I think it's positive. I think it's very exciting for a lot of the players. I'm really excited to see what more they're going to bring with it as well, future. But yeah, I'm thoroughly excited for it. Yeah,
awesome.
The multi-crew stuff is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm very much with y'all in terms of the multi-crew stuff. I always say that my goal for Star Citizen has always been: can I play the game, explore random places, shoot lasers and or bullets, and do so with my friends? If those 4 things are happening, then I am a happy gamer, because those are the things I like to do.
A happy camper for sure.
Yes. So, thank you for joining us, KG. Go ahead, Dar.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say, thank you for joining us, KG and Dar. Make sure that you check out the Real KG on Twitch, and Dar. You'll find Dar on that channel as well, I guess, as well as their organizations.
I'm there.
And that'll be it for this discussion section. So if you're watching this after the fact on the Monday afterwards, you can always watch the full VOD that'll be up. I'll have the link right above Dar's head, and also in the comments, or not the comments, but in the description below, where you can go watch the full stream. We do stream this live on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/TheAstroPub and youtube.com/TheAstroPubLive. Come join us live and ask your own questions if you want to. I would love to have you here. And if you did enjoy this, make sure that you are following The Real KG on Twitch. Make sure that you are subscribed to us here on YouTube. Hit the like button to help us spread the word a little bit. And comment down below on your own thoughts on this changes for grappling, grappling beams, tractor beams, and and shipping loadouts, and all the future of this sort of gameplay in Star Citizen. Love to hear that, your thoughts on that as well. But for now, thank you for joining us, and like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.
I feel dumb all the time, so that's just life for me.
All right, so we're unmuted for now. So chat. We'll take a few minutes to break, and then let's move right into the questions and answers. So if you're watching this, if you're joining us now from the recorded video, hello, welcome. This is going to be a little bit more off the cuff as chat's asking questions. I'm going to open up the questions for YouTube. Start Q&A.
I gotta ask you, how many monitors do you have?
3.
3, and you're doing this all on 3 monitors?
Yes.
Oh my Atlanta.
Sometimes it's a little hard to do, but I've got everything down to mostly a science where I can see everything on my OBS, and I have to swap back and forth with Twitch and YouTube, but I also on OBS I have both the chats running, so I can see them both. That was quick. Yeah, Jack. It's a pretty short, a shorter one, but I figure it was a good, solid discussion on that. When you say it was quick, it was 30 minutes, Jack. That was half an hour.
That was 30 minutes already?
Yeah.
That flew by.
Yeah. It happens when you're having discussions and stuff like that. It feels faster than it actually is.
It's like playing Star Citizen. When you get out of bed, when you log in, it's already been like 40 minutes.
Sometimes though, you feel like it's been 2 hours when you get out of bed and you try to get the stuff. So
it depends on how many times you get teleported back to bed and how far you get before you get teleported. I once got teleported from the spaceport at Orison back to bed. That was fun.
Oh, I haven't had that in a while. But chat, if you're on YouTube, I have the questions, the Q&A stuff. You hit the little drop-down icon on the top where it says Top Chat. You get the questions. You can type in your questions on there, and I will get that. If you're on YouTube or on Twitch, in the very bottom, there's a little gold coin icon. You click that. You click Redeem Captain's Table Question. Type your question into chat like you normally would be typing in chat, and then hit Enter, and both of those will be added to a queue, which I will look at. So... 34. It's now 34, but that whole section was about 30, almost exactly. All right, I'll be right back. I'm going to use the restroom to make sure I don't have to pee in the middle of this whole thing. But
yeah, I think I'll do the same.
All right. How you doing, chat? Bathroom break all because we're pulling the car over again until we get there. Well, I mean, I tend to try not leave the chat, and I drink. I've already drank like 50 ounces of water in the last 2 hours. So
you keep hydrated.
Mm-hmm. If I don't, my voice goes out.
H2O is the best thing ever.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Adam Sandler had it right.
I've already drank like a quarter of a gallon.
All right, y'all ready to go?
Yep.
Yes,
Let me mark down the time for this.
I can't hear my dogs barking in the background, right?
No.
No.
I'm gonna see if I can't pull up. I'm trying to head off of the pass. How long we've been going?
I can't hear my dogs barking in the background, right?
All right. Boop, boop, 35. There we go. Boom. Done. Let's get to the questions. There we go. Welcome back, everybody. So, make sure I have everything there. We're good. This is the question and answer session. Of course, we've got Dar and KG who are here to answer your questions that you've asked. And if you're watching this, if you've joined us back from the live, from the pre-recorded, and you're now back here to the VOD, hello and welcome again. As always, it's helpful if you leave a like, to subscribe if you want more of this content, and comment down below. Make sure you're checking out and following the real KG on Twitch. And yeah, let's get to some of the questions. What's 50 ounces on proper money? Oh, okay. About 1,500 milliliters of water there for you. We're talking about drinking water earlier.
Is that Paul?
It was Paul.
Yes.
Of course it's Paul.
No, it's the other Paul.
Oh, the other Paul. I was like, yeah.
No, it's the other Paul. That's my
The other
mod.
Okay. He's forever the other Paul now. All right. So the first question comes from Twitch, which is Nove, and I'm not going to answer this because this is asked every captain's table. I'll start with you on this one, Dar. What is your first ship? What was your first ship? What is your favorite ship? And what is your dream/holy grail ship?
Okay, so my first ship was, the first thing I purchased on the store was multiple ships. So I bought a Nomad starter pack and a Taurus.
So you're fairly new then. You've only been around for a couple of years, like 3 or 4 years?
About 2 years, yeah.
2 years now. Okay.
Yeah. So, those were my first 2 ships. I still love the Nomad, and I still love the Taurus. My current favorite...
You broke up there. Unless we just lost Dar.
I think we lost him.
Oh, we lost Dar.
Dar, where'd you...
He'll come back here shortly. It's been Tech Gremlin Day for Twitch.
He's been having some internet stuff.
Well, I'll ask the same question to you there, KG. When he comes back, we'll let him finish. What was your first ship, your favorite ship, and what is your dream/holy grail ship?
My first ship was the Mustang Alpha. I think I bought the Mustang Alpha starter pack. And I would say my favorite right now. Does it have to be a ship that's in-game flyable?
No.
My favorite right now would be the Spirit A1.
Okay. And what is
And
your dream Holy Grail ship? Like a ship that you either is in concept and coming out and that you're really looking forward to, or a ship that doesn't exist that you'd like to see exist in Star Citizen?
I think it's gonna have to be the Kraken.
The Kraken.
Yeah, the Kraken's just I don't know what it is. I like
It's big
aircraft
and
carriers
sexy.
and yeah, it's so gorgeous. One
I
day
see
I'll own one.
you appreciate Drake engineering.
Only a few of them.
We'll wait for Dar to come back. I'll ask you this question as well. How long have you been playing Star Citizen, KG?
I signed up. Is he back?
Yeah, he's back.
I'm on my phone. My power just went out.
Oh no!
Oh,
I'll put up a picture for right now so that's fine.
Yeah, if it comes back up, I'll turn the camera back on, but I'll just go from here.
like your power went out in your house?
Yeah, my whole house is dark.
Okay.
Well, the sun's not down, but yeah, my power's out.
Crazy. That's not as bad as the earthquake we had yesterday. I almost lost my computer.
Oof. Save that.
Does Dar live in Texas? I think he does.
South Carolina.
Or South Carolina.
There we go. There we go. Got your picture up. That'll work. So Dar, your favorite ship?
My favorite ship. I mean, it varies. Right now, it's I've been flying the Antares a lot. I really like that, but probably just because it's new. The ship I keep going back to is the MSR. I don't know why. I just really like flying it. I just like the vibe of it. Whenever I'm running bunkers or doing anything that isn't combat, I tend to gravitate towards the MSR. So I'll say the MSR.
Awesome.
My dream ship is definitely the Liberator. I've got the JPEG, and I'm really looking forward to that ship coming out. It's kind of pretty much every other ship I've bought with a idea of how it might work with the Liberator. Playing a bit of Dream Citizen, but that's definitely the ship I'm looking forward to the most.
Awesome. KG, you said you were saying, like, when did you start getting Star Citizen?
I think I've been playing it for. It's got to be around like 4 years now.
Okay,
I would say. I think I started playing when I think it was 3.7 or 3.8.
Yeah,
It's around the time I started playing it.
Yeah, because we 360 or 3.0 was in 2016. So
yeah, it was definitely not around that.
2018, I want to say 2017. 2018.
It had to be 2018 or 2019, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. We'll pull the one from YouTube chat. Is from Jack O'Neill, aka The Nomad, who asks, "How's your day going?" How you doing, KG?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you.
Other than other than that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln, Dar, when it came to?
I say that all the time.
Yeah.
No, it's been a good day so far. I'm really enjoying this, and hope my power comes back on. But other than that, it's good. I'm good.
Okay. I'm doing okay. I could use more sleep, but I'm doing okay. I'm taking tomorrow off from streaming so I could do some more content and just relax and do stuff. So that's good. And I had a really good day on stream. So
it's always a good day when you're alive and breathing.
Yes, that is a good day.
That's the way I look at it. If you're alive and breathing, it's always a good day.
That literally could be worse.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes from Jerbear Life, who asks, "What do you think about a Crusader medical ship, either a Herc variant or a Genesis variant, or a Spirit, if it should be small? What do you think about a Crusader medical ship, Dart? Do you think they should have a Crusader medical ship?"
I mean, my first thought is that sounds like the Apollo.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be super thrilled if they put something out like that. At least say the C2 size. If they put that out before they did the Apollo. I mean, you could make the argument that they designed the Apollo around drones because that was when Chris was obsessed with drones. But I wouldn't want to see a large medical focused ship before they make the Apollo. I think a Spirit would be like a Spirit medical ship could be really cool. Kind of complement or answer to the Cuddy Red. If you don't like your medical bed's duct taped down to the floor, you want a little bit more, a little more Crusader energy style.
Some panache rather than duct tape and hope.
Yeah, exactly. And variants are cool, and I think they tend to sell pretty well. But as long as they don't variant out something that they've already concepted as a ship that people are excited about, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Awesome. And Ionic did some research and said that it was 3.7 was 2019. So that I was about to say that sounds about right. So I will say that I kind of agree the concept of we probably don't need many more medical ships until we get the Apollo out, just because we don't have a lot of depth to medical gameplay yet. I'm sure we will sooner rather than later, especially with now that CIG somehow turned on that tap of PES and just said more gameplay. I'm sure we'll get something like that, some more version 2 or 1 or whatever it is. But I could see a Crusader ship that makes sense. It falls within their mythos of being kind of a humanitarian ship company. What about you, KG? What do you think about a Crusader medical ship?
I think if they do a Crusader medical ship, they should take the tram and make it a medical ship from Orison.
Yes, yeah, the Orison tram.
I would.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea.
I think that would be like if they were to do it, don't do like a Spirit style ship or a Herc. Like make it something small. And looks more like the shuttle. Like something like a competitor of the Pisces Rescue.
So something like a P8 competitor.
Yeah.
I think that kind of during Siege of Orison, it kind of like made it clear that Crusader needs like a starter size ship, because they were able to fill every role in the Siege of Orison with Crusader ships except there was the Pisces there. And it's like, it almost felt like the Pisces should have been Crusader, which maybe it should have, but Crusader could have like a Pisces. That would be really cool. And basing it around the Orison tram that's a cool idea. I like that.
It would make John Crew mad because John Crew hates that thing for some reason. I don't know why.
It's like the sleekest looking tram. It looks so cool.
It looks cool.
I mean, I basically live on Orison just to ride the trams.
Their lore is they are a shuttle company, so that would make sense too. So originally,
I do agree with the argument though that you guys have with the Apollo. Like before we get any more medical stuff, I would say the Apollo is probably more important, at least for medical ships.
Yeah, we've got to at least think that's the main medical ship we're missing though, because everything else is in.
It really is.
So. But I mean, it's also one of the few ships that actually comes with a tier 1 bed. So
true. I think it's the only one, isn't it? Besides the Endeavor,
the
Hope.
Galaxy medical module has a tier 1 bed too. I think
that's true too. Yeah. The
Galaxy. I forgot about the Galaxy.
Everyone does. Everyone got mad about it and forgot about it.
Hey, you know what? It's a cheap Carrack.
Yeah,
they give you a Carrack, so.
I still haven't taken that loaner Carrack out.
All right, next question comes from Ionic Gecko. We'll ask the next question from YouTube because we asked that was the last one was a YouTube Twitch question. Question comes from Gixer, who asks, "When Pyro comes, what will be your dream profession?" KG, I'll start with you on this one. What is your dream profession when Pyro comes out?
I think it's going to be exploration.
Okay.
Yeah, I think exploring the planets and the moons is actually going to be like my main focus.
Dar, what do you think?
Some sort of logistics guide for sure. Either in an SRV or the Liberator if they make it or something. But repairing, refueling, rearming, moving things around for the org, helping KG explore.
Mhm.
Helping people mine. I've got an expanse. Maybe doing a refining, kind of wherever they're at when Pyro comes out. But that's basically my Star Citizen dream, is to be like a mobile repair shop and you know, the guy who brings you the stuff you need to do the stuff you want to do.
Don't ask questions where I got it, kind of thing.
Yeah, we're in Pyro, and I'm working with these crazy guys, so who knows where we got it, and ignore the blood, but I've got that gun you needed.
For me, it's going to be. I'm still probably going to still do smuggling, but I think my main route will be go take like basic supplies, like medical supplies, food, water, that sort of thing, and then trading it for a profit at like Pyro, like Ruin Station or the various Pyro outposts, and then take the like illegal stuff, like all of the illegal narcotics or any of the illegal items that they have, and smuggle that back into Stanton for a profit. Because I feel like that's going to be the better one. Probably higher profits as well and higher volume.
We're gonna see Astro as like Scarface, man. Dude's gonna have like a whole drug empire.
You're gonna have the Weevil eggs.
Yes,
Right.
the grasping weevil eggs. Don't insult my grasping weevil egg empire there, Disco. All right, next question comes from Ionic Echo, who asks, in terms of logistics, what are things that you can think of that an org has to take into account when managing a large-scale fleet operation or war against an opposing force of equal strength? Are all the resources needed? What are all the resources needed? Where do you get them? How do you ensure the sufficiency? That kind of thing. Dar, since this is your kind of wheelhouse, what do you think?
I mean, there's the obvious of like ammunition, fuel, but spare components, spare fuses. I think food and water will probably start being more important. Logistics has always been an army marches on their stomach, right? And I think if CIG doesn't lean into that a little bit as being potentially a limiting factor for people, and particularly, for light fighters, they're going to need to land and so the pilot doesn't die, kind of thing. But yeah, it's going to be keeping the fleet moving, keeping everything running, keeping everyone flying, and medical gameplay could potentially play into logistics as well. Keeping everyone healthy. Things, you're out far enough for long enough, and things start adding up, and people start getting hurt, or people die, and they need transport back to the fleet, and that sort of thing.
All right. KG, what do you think? What do you think the logistics are with these like larger war scenarios?
I think it's like what Dar said. It's going to be more or less like stockpiling, like fuel, ammunition, weapon, like even extra components, weaponry. Yeah, food and water. Like you're more or less going to be either stockpiling it or buying it from like local traders or something.
Mm-hmm.
To keep the fleet operational.
Personally, I think a lot of people will start using energy weapons over ballistics, especially for like larger conflicts, because I think the logistical train that you need to have bullets, unless you have a way of manufacturing them, is going to be pretty high for the amount of weapon like damage they do. Whereas like, especially in a situation where you're like, hey, I need to go take this outpost that's in this other group or a group of players has, and we may be at this for hours. You don't want to have to run out of bullets in the middle of a fight. Run out of bullets before you run out of targets sort of situation. So
wouldn't that come up with like the thought of like the Perseus though? Isn't the Perseus have bespoke ballistic cannons?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. I hope that ballistics always have a damage advantage because of the logistical tail on them. And I think if logistics gameplay is done right, then an org or a group that has a better logistics setup is going to win a fight.
You know, you keep everyone supplied with ammo. Maybe your org can run ballistics, and that's going to give you an advantage in combat. Whereas, you know, if you don't have people dedicated to keeping everyone restocked, then, well, you have to run energy weapons, and that's going to be a disadvantage if you come up against a group that's a little better organized.
Yeah. Thank you for that raid there, Subliminals, by the way. Thank you for that, for coming in, Subliminal. Welcome, everybody. And as Jack says, by the way, by the way, bullets will be in crafting when it comes into the game. I don't doubt it.
Oh, really?
The question is more, what do you need? You know, do you need to like have a workbench of some kind? Like you need to, because bullets aren't like, they don't materialize out of thin air. You're going to need some sort of materials, copper, lead, gunpowder, and those sorts of things will have to have their own components that you'll have to mine or craft, or like there'll be a whole process. It won't just be like, you know, take copper and lead and then bash together with a hammer and then suddenly bullets come out. So
you could also like
thing.
You could also like, at least like thinking with the Perseus is obviously it's shooting like a shell, because that's what bullets have, a shell.
Mm-hmm.
You could rearm those shells as well.
You
could reload all of those shells.
So just having to like change add the gunpowder or the whatever
and add a new round.
And add a new round.
Yeah. It'd be like a limit on cost or something.
Yeah. And lasers need batteries. They do, but it's a lot easier to get power than it is to get like materials. Is the issue?
True.
Yeah.
And spaceships generate power for the lasers.
Yeah. So next question comes from Night Cobb, who asks, if it was a choice between accepting more beams as a mode of operation interaction versus the game taking an additional 2 years to provide more physically grounded gameplay, which would you choose and why? I think this made more questions more focused on UKG from your comments about being able to move stuff. Would you prefer, even if it took longer, if it delayed the game longer, to have physicalized like hand movements, or would you prefer the game coming out faster with beams and stuff like that?
I wouldn't mind it actually taking longer, to be honest.
Okay.
It gives them more time to like polish everything with making it more physical.
Okay. Dar? Or do you have another thing, KG?
It was gonna, like, my whole thought process on it was like being able to like hire AI and have them do it, and it would like bring more life to the game to be able to like see that, you know?
Yeah. More immersive to actually see them pulling stuff off.
Make it feel more like a space sim, like a full like simulator.
Dar, would you prefer physical interactions over beams, even if it took longer?
We lose Dar again.
We lose Dar again. We may have lost Dar again.
I'm gonna message him. Did we lose you?
I will say that there's no reason you can't have both. I don't mind beams being the initial implementation and then kind of having that stuff later. And this is CIG, so if they can find a way to, as an excuse, to build a pallet jack for moving cargo rather than having to use or like a bespoke crane system that exists, I'm sure they'll do it at some point. But yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I dropped out momentarily there. I'm on a cell phone connection now.
Okay. Yeah, no, but I also say that I think they'll always have beams, because beams are just nice and simple, and some people, just like the old conversation about like, we know we'll have startups. Like you'll have to have like, you flick on the prime, you prime your power plant, and you start up. That whole thing will be manual, but it'll also just say turn ship on, and the manual thing will be faster, and you'll be able to get out quicker. But there will always be an automatic starter for every ship, because it's Star Citizens. You don't have to like have a full checklist of stuff, because they just want you to play. I think it'll be the same thing. It's like, yeah, do you want to be able to physically like carry your stuff? Yeah, you could probably do that, but you can also just take a tractor beam and go yoink and move stuff. So, Dar, what do you think? Do you think we're going to see? Would you prefer beams versus taking more additional time for physical grounded gameplay?
I don't mind additional time. Like
Mhm.
I think focusing on like the eventual release with Star Citizen is kind of funny because I mean I play it every night now. It's a game that exists now. You
Mhm.
know, it's not what it's going to be in 2 years, but that's part of the fun. And you know, I think if they can make things more physical, that is more immersive. And I don't think that would be a bad use of the resources. I don't necessarily have a problem with beams. You know, tractor beams are, you know, it's in Star Wars, it's in every science fiction pretty much. But
Mhm.
you know, there's handles on the shield on all the components now. I imagine eventually we'll be able to pull them out and put them in, and there'll be nice bespoke animations for everything. And I think you know that'll be nice if they do that. But yeah, you know, as far as like additional time before release, I'm not worried about that either way.
Okay. Northern Trooper asks the next question. What do you envision with sabotage and logistics chain? Can a player put in bad ammunition, maybe poison MREs or food? Dar, what do you think?
I mean, that sounds like 2 more years of work, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I I think that'd be interesting. I think the more likely is that you know you find the logistics ships on their runs and interdict them. You know, you set up quantum traps for you know, part of fighting a battle is going to be disrupting the logistics of your enemy, and I think that's probably going to be more effective than trying to sneak in and like swapping their weapons out or something like that. Is just like kill them and take their weapons.
Okay. KG, what do you think? Do you think we're going to see, you know, cooking the bullets or poisoning the water well sort of situations?
I mean, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
It gives some sort of like a rat gameplay style that I think a lot of players would enjoy to kind of sabotage like big fleet operations or whatever.
The question I have, KG, since you fly with other people, how many of the people you fly with would poison your food as a joke?
All of them. Every single one of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I've seen enough like social deception games where with the people playing like you know Dread Hunger and Among Us and that kind of those sorts of kind of games. And every single one of those games, every time I see a content creator playing, their own people always poison them, even if they're not the bad guy. They'll just still poison people and try to do things just because it's funny. So,
oh yeah, it's whenever I'm playing with everyone, it usually seems like it's a battle amongst each other to just ruin my day. So, it's just an ongoing thing. So I would more or less,
yeah,
I expect it no matter what.
I think we'll see some of that stuff more often than not, honestly, because I think we'll with like MREs and like our like poison food. I think we'll start to see wear and tear. So there'll be a use by date where people like that Buster bar that you found in Pyro. You have no idea how old it is. But if you look at it and it's all crusty, you'd be like, do you want to take that risk of eating that Buster bar, even if you don't have enough food to last you, or do you want to like abandon it? There'll be that kind of stuff, but I agree with Dar a little bit in the sense that I don't think it's going to be I don't think it'll be a common occurrence. Though I 100% believe that there'll be people who put in bad ammunition or the wrong size ammunition or the wrong type of ammunition in bullet boxes just to see what happens or that sort of thing. So, all right. Let's go with the next question, which is from YouTube, where Halfsack asks, "What is your favorite Star Citizen April Fools?" I'll start with you on this one, KG.
I don't think I remember any April Fools from Star Citizen.
Dar, do you remember?
I don't know.
Any?
I don't think I've ever seen any.
Last year wasn't it like a Moby-Glass app, like dating app?
Yeah, it
or
was it was a
something?
dating app last year. Yeah. The year before
well,
was
it's the only one.
What's that?
That one.
Okay, that one. One of my favorites is always and still will always be. They had one where they did procedural food. They announced procedural food, and they streamed the same looping video of somebody making procedural food in in game for 12 hours. No, it was 24 hours. It was like a 3-hour video of just a dude, because like they actually have like a technology that they're using, which is used by companies that make like advertisements and like make menus. You know, like they put pictures together for menus for people to use for, you know, family restaurants and such. And there's a software that basically generates food looks. So they got that software to use it for Star Citizen, for actual Star Citizen, and then they decided they were going to make April Fool's it. So it was great. It was like a 24-hour live stream of the same dude using that tool for 4 hours. It was hilarious.
I wonder how many people were actually watching that, like the whole time. It
had like 1,000 people watching it the entire time just to enjoy it. There's been a couple. They had all before the PU happened. They had fish, like the fish in your fish tanks. They just had your fish all over the system, all over your hangar. It would just swim through your hangar.
That's pretty good.
I mean, that just sounds like the sort of thing that could happen in Star Citizen.
Yeah. There was also the announcement of Planet Tech version 4, which is all planets are now flat.
Oh God.
Then there was the food delivery. That was that whole procedural food thing came with food delivery. Like that was going to be a full gameplay loop they joked about. So they had Big Benny's skin that you could put onto a Reliant to do food delivery, which is, I don't want to be a joke. I want that to be real. Pizza delivery guy in the space. And then I think it was it last year or the year before that with the 404 ship. The
I remember that one.
Yeah,
that was the 400i like meme or whatever.
Yeah, it was before the 400 came out, but it was an April Fool's joke that they did about the Origin 404.
Yeah, it was like the dude flying a ship that's invisible.
Yeah, it was literally flying an invisible 400. We found out later. Yeah. They turned off all of the so it was just flying that because you could still see like the thrusters.
Yeah, dude just sitting in an invisible chair.
The procedural foods thing had a hot sauce ones in the middle, hot ones a bit in the middle, where they were all trying different hot sauces. Yeah. All right, next question. Really yeah. Next question comes from Ionic Gecko, who asks, what are the biggest challenges one might face when having to operate in an unclaimed star system where resources are scarce? How can these challenges be overcome? I'll start with this one pretty easy. For me, it's just like biggest challenges is keeping stuff or getting the stuff that's basic. So food, water, fuel, and like equipment that you need, any kind of specialized equipment you need. And I hate to sound flippant there, Ionic, but what are the challenges? Like how do you overcome these sources? Get good or plan. Like
that was literally going to be my response.
Get good or plan. Dar, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to keep coming back to, I think food and water are going to be more important than people imagine them to be, since, it's not a factor now. So, and I think the solution is, it's, it's get good or call me and I'll bring it.
Yeah. What do you think, KG?
Call Dar.
Just call Dar.
Yeah, call Dar.
I got him on speed dial. I'm keep good with things.
Always have what you need to survive. That's literally all you need. Mm-hmm. And I think you could overcome basically anything.
Star Citizen is a secret planning game. I think a lot of people don't realize how much planning goes into Star Citizen, because it's not like Eve where you have to have like a spreadsheet of information, and it's not like a survival game where you're like, oh, I need to make sure I have all these things. Because Star Citizen's, when it works well, it's just basically go get some Buster bars or some quick food, and then get some water or some drinks, throw them in your backpack, throw them in your ship, get some burritos. Make sure you have enough medical supplies and you're out. Like if you do that at the beginning of every gameplay session, it takes you 20 minutes max, probably more like 3. depending on bugs and elevators, and
Mhm.
and you're set for the entire gameplay session and likely the next gameplay session. So
Yeah, resources aren't really scarce in Star Citizen. They're just not always necessarily right where you need them. So you just have to, go to where they are, get them, and then bring
Yeah.
them to where you need them.
and having them more available all the time, it makes it a lot easier. So you don't have to worry about having to dehydrate or die in the middle of a gameplay. So
Yeah.
All right, next question comes from Jer Bear Life, who asks, "What is the reason, lore or headcanon, that the Navy doesn't just put a few antimatter torpedoes into problem stations like Grimhex and Ruin Station?" I'll start with this with my lore answer because the answer is pretty simple. Those stations are run by criminal organizations, but there are people who live on those stations who are not criminals, who are just outlaws or people who just live outside the UEE, especially Grimhex. It's full of that. So it's kind of like, hey, we know this enemy group of, a group of terrorists, for instance, or this mafia or this gang, this syndicate is active in this town. It's like you could do a strike on that town, but they're around a bunch of people who aren't part of that group and could easily get hurt. And it's just bad PR for your military to be killing a bunch of civilians, especially since the UEE is only a couple generations, like 2 or 3 generations out of an actual dictatorship that used to do that. So kind of bad luck. What do you think there, Dar? Why do you think they don't just nuke Grimhex?
I mean, I think historically speaking, generally when something like that happens, you end up making more criminals or more people that hate you than you eliminated by blowing up something like Grimhex.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to kill everyone, and then there's going to be very, very many people who are very upset about the fact that you blew their home up.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, KG?
I would say it would just create another war.
Okay.
And then just more people dying for no reason at all.
All right. Next question comes from Paul56S, who asks,
Oh
no.
if you can steal things from ships, what's going to stop someone in combat from blowing up their ship to stop you from robbing them? Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right now, ejecting soft deaths the ship. So
Yeah.
that would actually be very convenient. If I wanted to take all your components, if you just soft death your ship for me, that would be nice.
Yeah. It gets rid of the work that we have to do to steal those components.
Yeah, and if you blow your ship up, it doesn't necessarily destroy the components or the ship. It just makes it a death, so people can still salvage it. It may damage some of the aspects, but it's not going to stop someone from fully salvaging your stuff, I don't think. KG, what do you think?
I don't think that, like, I think that I mean, it just soft sets the ship, so
Yeah.
people are gonna be able to steal it no matter what. It doesn't really matter. If you do a full detonation and just fly your ship into a planet, then it would be different.
Yeah.
But
And Chet's pointing out it's all recall timers. Yeah, if you have the larger the ship is, the longer it's going to take you for you to get it back to. So you're going to waste your own time. For spite.
Somebody doing that with like an 890. Was it like an hour and a half claim time?
Yeah, good luck. All right. Paul56S also asks, do all ships have an EMP?
No.
It's a quick answer.
There's only like 6? I think it's 6 or 7 ships that have EMPs right now.
It's the
I can think of 4 or 5.
The Hawk, the
Hawk,
Antares,
the
Saber Raven, the Sentinel,
Warlock,
the Warlock. And
I don't think the Cutlass Blue has it, right? That just has a QED on it.
No, it has just as a QED. I think there's one ground vehicle that does, which is the Cyclone AA has a
Does it actually?
EMP. Yes,
function?
it does. Yeah, it does.
Does it work though?
Yeah,
really?
It's the same EMP on the Hawk.
Oh, that would be fun at Jump Town.
Yes.
Oh, it's not the Stalker, it's the Warlock that has the EMP.
Warlock. Yeah, the Warlock.
Yeah.
I don't know what else has an EMP. I thought there was something else, but I guess not.
All right. Yeah, I think that's it. I think they're. No, yeah, that's it. And I think the Sentinels is temporary. I think it's going to get removed when they add the E-War suite onto it. So
Though
That's what I remember.
they've never actually said what an E-War suite is and what
Yeah.
it'll do.
yeah, it's. I think they're coming up with it. I think that's what hacking gameplay is at least going to start with. But
Yeah. I think the Legionnaire will be the lead ship for hacking gameplay.
Galaxy EMP module. You just
Yeah.
disable the whole fleet. That'd be so broken.
And yourself.
Yeah, right? Be like a repeat of the Antares.
All right, so Jack O'Neill, the Nomad, asks, when we get our own apartments and hangars, can others loot your stuff? If you don't lock it, I guess. What do you think? Do you think people will be able to loot your apartments, KG?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't lock it, like, I don't know if they're gonna have a locking function, but right now you can't even get into apartments.
Yeah.
So I don't
Dar?
like.
do you
Is it
think?
gonna have the same tech that they have now, where you can't really just enter any hab? But I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't make it so that you can rob people. But then at the same time, why would you rob somebody's apartment?
Yeah. Dar, what do you
Yeah, I
think?
don't.
I would hope that they don't even allow that to be a possibility. Beyond door locks, just make it like no, because otherwise then it just are we going to be playing Rust? Do I
Yeah.
have to like log on at 3 a.m. to stop someone raiding my hangar and taking all my cool stuff? Like, I don't think they want to go that hardcore with the game.
That's actually something I didn't think about too. Is because there's a lot of like pledged items that you can get, right?
Mm-hmm.
For
Yeah,
decorating your habs in your hangar. So yeah, I think the ability to actually steal that would be kind of dumb.
yeah. Just I think that feels like a little bit too hardcore for Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Too like 24/7.
Paul56S asks, do you think damageable components will be easily available, or could they be more like Tarkov, where there's only a limited amount available to force you to loot other players? I think he's asking if they're asking if do you think that there'll be a limited stock on components
On
that could be damageable?
components,
What do you think, KG?
I think I wouldn't. I could actually agree with them having an unlimited stock, because then that would bring in more of the gameplay for like players trading and selling components, instead of having to like worry about the stock of a called it like a
Commodities.
platinum bay or whatever. Yeah.
Dar, what do you think? Do you think they'll make components more limited in terms of availabilities?
Yeah, I hope so. Item scarcity, creates value, right? And that could be a very cool thing. Military components probably shouldn't be like grade A military components probably shouldn't be easily available in a system like Stanton, right?
Yeah.
Civilians aren't supposed to have those. So, maybe if I can get my hands on an XL1 that becomes more valuable, or if you're out and you scan down someone and you see they have valuable components now, now you're going to want to fight them for them, and creates more of a player economy. Like, I could see that being a really good thing. I think items in general having weight, ships having more weight in the sense that you value them, you want to keep them alive, you want to keep yourself alive is a really good thing for gameplay.
Yeah, it makes it more dangerous, makes it more valuable or more engaging.
Right.
I'd love to see that. We're eventually going to have that. Like, eventually everything's going to have a limited stock. So I could easily see them just adding that part in 319, like all ship components or value, like stock limited. So it takes a while, and it takes a while for them to re-up. But we haven't heard a lot of stuff from Quantum in a while, the whole background economy. So hopefully we'll know a little bit more before 319, because that seems like something would be very Quantum based.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Paul56S, who asks, do you think they'll implement a repair element to the game so you don't have to purchase or steal items? Dar, what do you think?
I sure hope so. Otherwise, I'm gonna really wonder why I bought a Vulcan.
I think Paul is more asking about like maybe in like 319, like immediately. Do you think we'll see that?
No, I don't think immediately. I mean, they haven't talked about it, so that feels like that'll be more tied in with engineering gameplay when that comes out. And they talked recently about overclocking and modifying components as well being a thing. So repair would probably go along with that. I think they need to do like whole ship repair first before they go into individual components and stuff.
KG, what do you think?
Which I guess they kind of did, but
yeah. KG, what do you think? Do you think we're going to see them add repair elements to the game for 319?
I think maybe not for 319. I would say probably somewhere past 4.0. I don't see it coming anytime soon.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just torn on that. I think you could probably take damage, and I'm sure they'll be able to be repairable, but I don't think players will be able to repair them. I think it'll be like a magic wand. You hit a button and it repairs, but it's hard to say. Yeah, and chat's also pointing out with mil-spec, which is one of my favorite things. It's that games often get wrong, which is in our IRL, mil-spec doesn't mean great quality. It just means you can drop it out of a truck and it won't break as easy, leak or freeze as easily. The old story about military grade just means it was made by the lowest bidder.
Yeah, they asked was it John? They asked John Glenn what he was thinking when he was sitting in the rocket before it launched, and he said the fact that every single part on this rocket was made by the lowest bidder.
Yeah. So, this is an easy question that just asked by Prophet of Trout. What's the target date for CIG releases for 319? Before Invictus, and Invictus is the last week of May. So sometime before the last week of May of this year. Because someone's always going to be trying to be cheeky and be like, what year?
Yeah, I would say probably the week before Invictus goes live.
That's probably their target, yeah.
Yeah.
Jack O'Neill asks, do you think Star Citizen is going to have a red light districts for missing giving and such, or mission giving and such? Yeah, I don't see why not. What do you think, KG? Do you think we're going to see red light districts?
Yeah, and if we do, it better be in Area 18.
Oh,
that's the perfect area for it.
Yeah. Dar?
It gives you that cyberpunk feel.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I could definitely see them going that way, and that seems like something Ruin Station would definitely have a red light district.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think we'll see slums and those are the things added, and to give it more flavor and different mission givers and such for sure. All right. Let's go through. Prophet of Trout. This is another quick question. Do we know what Tony Z tried to squeeze into 318? No, at least I don't. Dar or KG, did you hear anything about what Tony Z tried to squeeze into 318?
No, I mean the last Tony Z quantum thing I remember hearing anything about was it 316 when they released refueling?
Yeah, I think it was 316 or 317.
And they turned on quantum for fuel prices.
Yeah.
And service beacons are controlled by quantum, but I don't think we've heard anything from Tony Z. He's in the cryo chamber right now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So all right, this next question, I will start with you, KG, on this one. I'm going to step out for a few seconds and come back. What ships do you think will release this year, and which ones are you looking forward to?
I think all the spirits. Definitely all the spirits this year. The Santokai, the whole sea?
The whole sea, the links.
Maybe the Odyssey. I would like to see the Odyssey come IAE of this year as well. Oh, the SRV as well, yeah. SRV for sure, though. I think the SRV might actually be like sometime around 319. I think it'll be a .x patch for 319.
I mean,
And then the 600i rework will definitely be this year as well. I think it'll be sooner than people think.
yeah, when they showed the turrets of the 600i in the sprint report, and I mean that shows that they're actually doing work on it. So that's probably IAE, I would imagine. I think we're going to see the A1 and the C1 at Invictus, but I don't think we'll get the E1. And I hope we get the E1 for IAE. I mean, it kind of fits the IAE better anyway, but yeah, SRV, all the spirits.
Whole
I
C
don't
for
think
sure.
whole C for sure. Yeah, that's going through final art. SRV's in final art. That could be Invictus. The Lynx is late gray box. Looks like maybe early final art. Then that seems like a kind of a slam dunk for a LTI token for Invictus. The X1, that's on the roadmap as well. So that feels like probably the LTI token for IAE. It feels like an RSI year. My like pie in the sky hope is Perseus or Polaris for IAE.
Yeah. The Polaris has more of a chance than the Perseus because it's actually in development right now, so it's going through a lot of concepts, but it's a lot of concepts. So
yeah, I just like the Perseus better than the Polaris, so
yeah,
I threw it in there. But yeah, I think the Polaris has a more realistic shot at coming out. But
for ships, I think we'll see the Spirit. I think we'll see the SRV. We'll see the Lynx. We'll see this whole C, and the Santokyai. I think we'll see as well. And then we'll likely see a couple new like variants of older ships that they've been kind of hush hush about, and obviously some new ships that'll be released because they're working on them right now. So
might actually get another RSI starter ship too.
We could be
whatever the Mist Fury is. We're gonna see that.
Yeah,
the Mist Fury. Yeah, we'll see it. I don't know if it'll be released. It could also just be a concept release because they've done that in the past.
I have a feeling it's a Misk starter ship.
It could be.
I feel like they're trying to make starter ships for every manufacturer, right?
Yeah.
At least that's what it seems like.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it could be a Misk starter ship.
X1. I think, I do think we'll see the X1, but that ship is the biggest tease because it's been in some form of development for like 7 years, like off and on. Like it's not like, oh yeah, well it's being developed. Like no, it's been on the progress tracker, off and on the progress tracker, and like CIG's been putting something to work on it off and on for like 4 or 5 years straight. So
those
ships, bikes, like, right?
Yeah,
the G12, the X1, and the Lynx have always just not made any sense to me that they haven't made those.
Yeah,
and I'm glad they're making those now.
And
but
Ranger,
there's
too.
no tech blocker. There's no weird. The X1's just a speeder bike.
Yeah.
They've made many speeder bikes now. It's weird that they haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Next question comes from. This is a good one. From Jack O'Neill, who asks, when do you guys think we will see the new RSI large mining ship we voted for? KG, what do you think?
That could possibly be an IAE thing of this year. Maybe like a concept image of it.
Okay.
Little teaser of it, maybe.
Do you think we'll get it before the Orion?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Dar?
I think, yeah, IAE for maybe a concept sale at IAE. It depends on, I mean, I guess large means what, like Carrack sized, right?
That's between a Connie and a Carrack is usually large.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge undertaking for them. I wouldn't expect to see it flyable, but that seems like the sort of thing they'll sell in concept. But yeah, it'll definitely be before the Orion. I think the Orion goes in the same category as the Endeavor, which is maybe we'll see it before the heat death of the universe.
Yeah. All right. Next question comes from Dunsel Beard, who asks, Do you think it will be possible to do long exploration missions without returning to a station? And if so, what ship would we be able to do this? KG, your thoughts on this? Because you said you want to do more exploration.
The Odyssey.
The Odyssey?
The Odyssey for sure, because it can mine its own fuel.
And do you think it'll be possible?
Oh yeah, definitely. If you stock up on enough like food and water and just all the stuff that you need, then yeah, definitely.
Dar, what do you think? Do you think it's possible, and what ship do you think you'd do this?
Yeah, I definitely think it's possible. I'd probably be in a Carrack or a 600i for that, but I mean, I think the Carrack's cargo capacity is as much for carrying supplies out as it is for like loading up on things, and that's 300 plus SCU, right? 400, I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, the Carrack, the Odyssey, the 600i, the Galaxy a little bit, they're all designed to go out on their own for a long time with a smallish crew and explore. So I would probably take the Carrack or the Odyssey. You're going to be somewhat fuel limited with the Carrack versus the Odyssey, but both of them should be able to like potentially go out for weeks and not have to come back to the station.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, I mean, almost certainly you'll be able to do that. Go on long-term missions or to be able to just go and hang out on your own. I think even something as simple as like the DUR will be able to do stuff like that if you have it right well enough.
I think the DUR is going to be kind of a low-key, really good basic ship for Pyro. It just has such big fuel tanks and
has a refinery.
Pyro is, and yeah, and Pyro is really big. What is it like? It's like 5 times the size of Stanton, right?
About 3 times,
it's
yeah.
14
3,
AU.
yeah.
Yeah, it's 13 or 14 AU, and Stanton is 3 AU. So
yeah, I think the DUR could end up being a really good like kind of starter Pyro ship.
For sure. It's that one, and I think the Aquila, which will be a little bit better. But then you go jump directly to that, to like the Carrack and the Odysseys. So, and we're not going to talk about the beta because they ruined the beta. My God, they destroyed that ship. It's hard to explain because that ship used to be sexy. The interior was nice. It looked like a nice shaggin' apartment kind of thing. It's tiny, but it had flavor and panache. And now it looks like the inside of Kleischer. For the interior.
Yeah, I don't like the way you get in and out of the beta either. It just feels clunky.
All right, this I guess it's Major Sinkhole asks, with several unannounced ships in the queue, what does he think the chances of for us getting a new consolidated Outland ship, and where do you see the consolidated Outland going in the future? Possible larger Nomad style or even medium fighter? Dar, what do you think? Do you think we're going to get a consolidated Outland ship, and if you do, what kind of ship do you think we'll get?
I really hope so. I'm a huge fan. I mentioned the Nomad was like my first ship, and I still really like it. I would love to see, like a Cutlass-sized consolidated Outland ship. Maybe a little more combat focused. Think maybe the Spirit, but with kind of Cutlass guns and smaller, a little bit of a smaller cargo capacity. Maybe kind of stick with the truck bed kind of aesthetic, because I like that on the Nomad anyway. I don't see him doing that with one of the unannounced ships. I bet at least one of the unannounced ships is something from RSI, but it just feels like last year was Drake year. It feels like this year is RSI year. So
oh yeah, I could almost bet that the RSI ship is going to be a racing ship too. One of the unannounced ships is an unannounced racing ship because they have racing and B, it's RSI. So
they better not.
Why not? Why is that, KG?
Because it's gonna take all my money. I will have to give my credit card just straight to Chris Roberts if they do that. Ever since they've added racing, that's literally like all I've wanted to do. It's so much fun.
It is. I bought a Razor when 318 came out. I really enjoyed the racing too.
Nice. I haven't tried it, so I'll have to try it myself.
Oh, you have to try it. It's so much fun.
KG, what do you think? Do you think do you think there's a possibility we're going to see one of the unannounced ships as a consolidated Outland ship? And if so, what kind of ship do you think?
I don't. So I think like what you guys said, I think it'll be more RSI focused this year for sure. Maybe next year, but definitely not this.
I could definitely see Consolidated Outland coming out with a dual seat heavy fighter in the style of the Scorpius or the Hurricane, just because like their background is they're from Bremen, and Bremen is famous for having one of the best militias in the humanity, and so having like a dual seat heavy fighter from them and kind of like a rugged frontier style would make sense thematically and give them some sort of combat ship. But yeah, I don't.
Gosh,
see it soon.
a consolidated Outlands take on the Vanguard would be very cool.
Yeah,
I would like that a lot.
All right. Next question comes from Dunselbeard, who asks, do you think running a BMM for guns, ammo, etc. in Pyro would be viable, or would you just end up being a loot pinata for pirates? The yes and no. Running a BMM solo as a salesperson is just asking for yourself to get shot. But if you have protection or you have business deals, it's a little bit better. But just like any kind of thing, it's like if you prove that you're more of a pain in the butt to attack than it's worth the actual effort to, then no one will bother. Because especially when Pyro comes out, resources are going to be scarce for some people. So attacking a trader who could be selling you stuff that you need is probably bad business because they just won't sell it to you. And if they because they're going to come back eventually, and you'll just not be able to get that stuff unless you attack them. And next time they'll probably have help. But what do you think, Dar? Do you think it's valuable to run an arms dealer BMM in Pyro?
I mean, I think the BMM is probably never going to be super viable by itself in somewhere like Pyro. It's got big turrets, but it's a defender, but that's not going to be any match for organized pirates. And I think that the BMMs, and there are many of them, will probably serve mostly as loot pinatas for pirates until people kind of figure out how to integrate a BMM with some protection and figure out how to run them. Because I just don't see a large ship being able to defend itself by itself from a concerted effort to blow it up.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, KG? Do you think a BMM could be an arms dealer? It would be viable.
I think it would be, but yeah, it's going to need some sort of like escort in order to be a viable one. Because he could easily get robbed if he's running that by himself. Like anybody's running it by themselves. But yeah, I could see it definitely being an arms dealer, no problem.
All right. Next question comes from It's Dibbles, who asks, what's your favorite large ship and why is it the Kraken? Well, we know that's KG's favorite large ship, but but Dar, what do you think? Do you like the Kraken?
I do like the Kraken. I like Dibbles' Kraken specifically. He's one of our org mates. No, I think my favorite large ship, it's the Liberator. If we're putting it in that category, Kraken is a cap. My favorite capital ship right now, I think, is the Polaris. I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
If it is considered, the Polaris is considered a cap ship, right?
It's a cap ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite is probably the Perseus. Just because it's one of those great. It's got the right number of crew, like two to five, for like you just to get a bunch of friends out, and it's got the kind of firepower. It's like just me and my mates going out and just causing havoc. It's never going to be something you have to not pay attention to as a situation. But the Kraken's nice. All right, I'm going to pause questions here because we're getting a lot more people coming in and asking them. So we're coming up on 4 hours. So for me streaming, we're coming up at we're at 6:30 my time, so about 30 minutes to the top of the hour. I think we can get some of this, or I think we can get through some of this. So the question, question from Halfsack. Okay, for Halfsack, I'm not asking that first question because TOS. Second question. If you had to make a new Cutlass or Freelancer variant, what would it be? Dar, if you were to make a new Cutlass or Freelancer variant, what would it be?
That's a good question. I'd like to see an RSI Cutlass or Freelancer. Like a small
Competitor.
Connie or a large Aurora or something. Yeah, that's some sort of competitor in the stick it. Sorry, go ahead.
Would you see any hold on a second. There you go. Would you how about like variants of the Connie or the Cuddy or the Freelancer? Any kind of variants you'd like to see of those, or you think about?
I mean, I'd like to see the Cutlass get a bathroom.
Okay. I mean, the Red has a bathroom, but
it does in lieu of a turret. And I mean, I know the Black has nice big sliding doors, but I would like to see all the Cuddies brought up to like the Corsair gold standard. They did such a good job with the Cutter and the Corsair, and it's weird. You go Cutter and then into the Cutlass, and it's like stepping back in time 4 years, and then you go up to the Corsair, and it's like, oh wow, okay. So it kind of all of the Cutlasses kind of stand out from the rest of the Drake ships now as being a little bit out of date. But
what do you think, KG? What kind of Freelancer or Cutlass variant?
Dibbles might love this right now, but the Freelancer Steel.
Like a version of it?
Yeah, a Freelancer Steel I think would be actually hilarious. And a lot of fun.
I've actually, like, well, I was going to say something similar. I was going to say the Freelancer Bus, which is just the Freelancer, the Freelancer Max, but like instead of having a cargo bay, you have like seats, just like rows of seats,
like a school bus,
like a school bus. Yeah, you paint it yellow. But I mean, there's like a short, like a short to medium transport of like a small shuttle, as it were. It's like you just get a bunch of people in
a short bus.
Yeah, a short bus for travel, and it's painted yellow. And it's the Freelancer Bus, BUS, whatever.
Yeah.
Or even like a drop ship too. Like a Freelancer drop ship would be pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
I think it's built perfectly for it.
I like the Freelancers a lot. That's another ship I'd like to see. Go get in a Hull A and imagine what a Freelancer would look like with that cockpit. That would be great.
I don't even mind the cockpit, but the interior design is so garbage. Like the 4 seats for only 2 crew members that are supposed to be in there, and like 4 beds and a tiny ass kitchen. Like it needs an interior rework for sure.
Yeah, and the MFD layout is like your arms block the lower 2 MFDs, which is really annoying. So it kind of functionally only has 2, and the click boxes are weird on them. Yeah. It's one of those that just needs a little bit of work, and it would be great.
The next question comes from Steve the Dancer, who asks, when the SRV and tractor beams come out, do you feel free claiming of ships will be gone? No. I almost certainly will still have free claiming of ships. I think it's more likely that we'll see the time to reclaim will go up. So, because CIG has to have a reason for you to tow your broken ship back rather than just claim it. What do you think, Dar?
Yeah, they mentioned they were talking about claim times and stuff and kind of rebalancing that. I imagine we'll have free claims until we get to a point where you could reasonably say every time you claim your ship, it's because you did something dumb and got blown up. Mm-hmm. And, we're a pretty long way away from that.
KG, what do you think? Do you think we're going to see a free charging of ships go away with the SRV?
Free charging?
Yeah, like where you no longer have to pay anything to reclaim a ship.
Yeah, I don't think I think we're always going to have to pay either way.
Okay.
Because you have to pay the guy that's flying the SRV to bring all that stuff back, right?
Yeah.
No, he's saying like right now we can claim ships for free. That's going to go away eventually. Yeah. Do you think that'll be when the SRV comes out?
Oh no, not when the SRV comes out.
Okay.
I got mixed up on that.
Yeah, it's fine. All right, so I got 2 questions. I'll ask the first question and then the second question. They're both similar questions. What do you think? What Invictus ship do you think will come out this year? Like new ship, because they usually come out with a new ship at Invictus. What new ship do you think they'll come out with this year? KG.
Something that's not announced, right?
Yes. What kind of unannounced combat ship or military ship do you think they may have in their back pocket?
It's something from RSI. I'm gonna say probably a light fighter.
Okay. Another light
RSI.
fighter from RSI.
Yeah.
Okay. Dar, what do you think?
Yeah, I could see it. I could see another light fighter because we know the Sandhawk's coming, and that's probably going to be for Alien Week, and that's a medium. They did the Scorpius, that was a heavy, and I know there's a lot of light fighters, but that is also the PvP meta, and adding a new viable ship into the PvP meta would be nice. It's always nice, anything to mix up, Arrow, Gladius, Blade sometimes,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I could see a lot of different things. I could see more support ships being added, like refuel or repair ships that we haven't seen. I could see more combat-oriented ships with things like people have talked about maybe a Titan ship, like a Titan suit carrying ship, something like that, like a drop ship that's not the Valkyrie, like a smaller numbers of drops. So it's hard. I couldn't tell you right now. It's always good to bet on a light fighter because CIG knows how to make them, and they're cheap. They're simple in comparison. They're simple to make. So,
I'd
go ahead.
I'd be interested to see them make the argument for another dropship. There's a lot of dropships, and they're very expensive, and it's not really ever been made clear to me anyway. Particularly people are talking about it when the Steel came out. Like, when are we going to need those? And why are they so expensive? And I hope they kind of flesh out some supporting systems that will make me want to load up 25 of my best friends in the back of a Steel and almost certainly get them killed, but try to drop them off somewhere.
Hey there, welcome Devin Aubrey. Thank you so much for that raid. How you everyone doing from your Devin stream? We're doing question and answer session with Captain Staples. We're kind of finishing up here. Thank you for coming in. All right, so this is the one that's connected to that question. Death Trooper asks, what do you think they'll announce at CitizenCon this year? Dar, what do you think?
Oh, I have a hot take. I think they're going to I think they're going to announce a release date for Squadron 42.
Okay.
It's the first in-person sitcon since 2019, right? And they haven't talked about Squadron 42 since 2019, and they've been doing a lot with it. And the drunken Aaron Roberts said that they were 2 years out, coming up on a year ago. So yeah. I think they're going to announce something along the lines of it's going into an internal beta and they're shooting for the fall of 2024 and play like a sizzle reel and a trailer and, kind of reveal a little bit about the game, kind of start a actual marketing campaign. That's my hot take theory about SitCon.
Okay. I'm with you. I think it's my hopium. I think at that point, that's just I've been burned too many times by this game to believe that that's actually going to happen. But I want to hope. I want to believe. KG, what do you think they'll announce at CitizenCon this year?
Squadron 42.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it'll come out with some sort of release date.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least a time frame on when we're going to see it. Because we never really see release dates when we look at Star Citizen. So
yeah,
it's either going to be that and like maybe something for the persistent universe, but
yeah,
I think it's mostly going to be focused on Squadron 42.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that based off of what we've seen, there seems to be a lot of the basics are finished because I talked about like the movement system, the AI systems, all of the stuff they showed off at CitizenCon last year was pretty well established, and so that will be by November or October of this year will have been a year since they've had that. So,
I think the last like gameplay basic that they haven't really added and they're now making steps towards is physicalized damage.
Yeah.
That's I assume they're going to want to have that in Squadron 42, and engineering gameplay leads into component damage, and
Yeah.
so hopefully that's kind of the last big gameplay thing they need to somehow work into the Squadron 42 campaign. But I mean, it's probably hopium, but I don't think it's completely crazy to think that that's where they're going with Sitcon.
Yeah. I'll also add that I think this is the first time they've ever done a Sitcon where they announced it almost a year ahead. They almost never announce where they're going almost a year ahead. They usually announce it in like April or May of when it is and where it is. They announced that much earlier this year than they've ever done so before. And the only reason I can imagine them doing so is because they have something planned, because they have to plan it. Either having, someone like Mark Hamill or something else like that, or just having a trailer being done, or marketing materials set up. So because it takes a while to plan for those sorts of things. So
didn't they mention in a monthly report for Squadron 42 that they had principal actors back in from fill-in mocap, didn't they?
Yes, for some of them, yes.
And that's a sign that they're getting, like, they're not going to pay Mark Hamill to come out to England and go in their mocap studio if they aren't pretty sure that they're getting to a point where they need that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'll also point out the fact that, what was it? The people have been saying like they'll have a release date and then they'll push it. It's like almost certainly. I've not seen a single game that has announced a release date that has hit that date. Sometimes I've seen them release before the date, but never the date. Be prepared.
Except Call of Duty.
Is Call of Duty announce a date ahead of time and then hit that date exactly?
Oh yeah, they do it every year because they don't really change. Well,
Call of Duty is a copy pasta though, so
yeah, it's more of an expansion every year. So
yeah.
I don't know about that, bro. Mantling system seems very rough demo, and that means they still have to redesign the FPS levels. I don't think so. I think they've already designed the FPS levels. It's just more of that's less of a, because before it was based off of a system where you certain points had certain animations attached to it. That mantling system was designed as a procedural mantling system, so you mantle based off of the ledge where it is. So that was the difference. That's the reason why. So you don't need to build a system with certain bespoke animations for you climbing and stuff like that. You just have the ability to do so.
And I think PES coming online shows that they've been able to build systemically enough that without blocker tech in place, where when they put the blocker tech in, other stuff they've worked on suddenly works. Like their system, I think 318, despite all of the obvious server issues and stuff, kind of shows that the way they've been designing the rest of the game around the tech that's eventually going to be there has worked out pretty well. The tractor beam stuff that we're talking about now is a great example. That's all existing systems that they built that suddenly work now.
Yeah. And you'd have to point me, Citizen Scott, you'd have to point out to me where Chris said that they have to redesign all the FPS levels, because it's also important to note that everything we saw at CitizenCon was made on technologies which, if you've been following the Squad 42 monthly report, has been, some of that stuff was several months old before it made it to CitizenCon. Especially the AI tech and the movement systems they were working on those for months before they actually showed them off there. So, I'm hoping for a release date announcement, and then I don't anticipate them hitting that release date though.
Definitely not, but it'll be good progress.
Good progress. At least we'll actually have some information coming out from them. The Paul 56S asks, if KG is racing and setting good times, how long before chat will shut down his ship to watch him crash? KG?
I'm not answering that question for him.
Dar?
It's as long as it takes for someone to tune into the stream that has enough channel points to redeem shutdown ship. Which, just so everyone knows, if you watch KG's stream, one of the channel point redeems is shut down his ship, and it is hilarious.
And it happens at least 4 or 5 times a stream.
Oh, man.
I have lost a lot of gear.
Because of chat.
Yep.
All right. So Jack the Nomad O'Neill asks, Kraken Privateer versus BMM. What would you guys go with, and what do you think will win for those two? KG, which one do you think is better? Which one would you go for?
Probably the Kraken Privateer. I think just the design of it.
Design?
And the industrial look to it.
Dar?
Yeah.
I would go with the BMM. I think I tend to prefer the non-variant ship for a role versus a variant. You know, I think the Kraken is going to be a really good fleet carrier, and the privateer is a converted fleet carrier. So I think I'll go with the ship that was designed to be a merchant ship by a race of people who are merchants.
Okay. I think. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was I'm going to think. I personally like the BMM, but I think the Kraken Privateer is probably going to be more profitable overall because it's a flying space station. But you're going to require more people with a privateer versus a BMM. So, you going to say something, KG, or just?
I was gonna say it, and it also has landing pads on it.
That's true. All right. Next question comes from Nove42, who asks, what do you think of the RSI links? Personally, I was hoping it would be more general utilitarian like the Ursa, but more cleaned up. What do you think, Dar? What do you think about the links?
I like it. I mean, ground vehicles don't have a lot of practical purpose right now, and when you're taking them out, it's just kind of mess around, and they're really fun. And CIG does the luxury aesthetic really well, so I like it. I think it'll be fun. I'm sure I'll buy one. I'm not sure how long I'll keep it, but I'm sure I like it. It's cool.
KG, what are your thoughts on the RSI links?
I think it's pretty sleek looking. The interior is gorgeous. It definitely reminds me of an RSI vehicle. It's got like the Phoenix style look to it on the interior. I think it's freaking gorgeous.
Okay, yeah, I like it too.
Vehicle.
I like it because it screams luxury, which is nice. I'm glad it's not just a cleaned up looking Ursa. I'm glad it's an actual like variant. So
that's the first ground vehicle too. That's luxury, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. The G12, but the G12's not out. So
yeah, so that's I don't know. I personally think it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's neat. I think it's really cool.
Okay. All right. We got 3 more questions left. Irritated Considerably asks, do you think the Terrapin will get some love for 4.0 as part of the exploration group of ships? Dar, what do you think? Do you think we're going to see some love for the Terrapin?
I think the Terrapin will get love when they figure out how to make scanning interesting, and I'm really looking forward to them doing that. Yeah, and they're going to have to for exploration gameplay. I don't think that's going to be a 4.0 pyro thing initially, but at some point they're going to have to sit down and figure out, okay, what does scanning look like? Why does the Terrapin have 2 seats? What are we gonna do beyond pressing tab and flying to boxes? And I'm looking forward to that. I don't, like I said, I don't think it'll be 4.0 initially, because I don't think Pyro is going to lead with like the exploration gameplay that everyone's dreaming of. I think it's going to be more, that'll be later on in the 4.0 series of patches, I'm sure. But I feel like we need to have more than 2 systems before, like exploration gameplay becomes really fleshed out. But I like the Terrapin. It's a really cool ship. I hope it can kind of serve a purpose as like an AWACS. If you think of the Ninetales lockdown mission and the protecting the Terrapins while they're trying to scan out where the Ninetales fleet is. However that gameplay will work for us, I think will be very interesting.
KG, what do you think? Do you think we're going to get the Terrapin for some Terrapin love for 4.0?
If you gib hard enough, yeah. I don't see it happening anytime soon. Especially not for 4.0. Maybe with Nick's system coming sometime after Pyro, but I don't think it's gonna get any love anytime soon. They got to get scanning gameplay in before that thing gets anything.
Yeah, that was going to be my comment. Is that we need scanning gameplay in, and I think they're working on that right now. The new versions of scanning, but that's Squadron right now, and we'll be lucky to see it in 4.0. I think so. It's hard to know.
I'm very interested to see what they do with scanning. There's a number of ships that are kind of based around it. The Carrack, the MSR, the Terrapin,
The Dur,
the Dur, yeah. Okay, how am I scanning? What am I scanning for? Why do I want to scan? What is the benefit of different scanners? Is it passive or active? Yeah, there's a lot of questions there. It's going to be really interesting.
Okay. Kuro asks, could CIG realistically make a roughly Carrack-sized micro carrier that could sacrifice some of the advantages of other in-class ships to carry ships to scale, like 2 Cuddies, 3 Hornets, etc., as a mobile base for 1 to 4 players? And if they can, what would they or should they? You're just describing the Liberator.
That's literally what the Liberator is.
Now, it can't carry a bunch of Cuddies, but you can definitely carry 1 Cuddy on the top of that Liberator. It may not be perfect, but almost certainly if it fits, it sits. We'll roll with that.
It'll literally hold 3 Hornets.
Yeah.
Look, I've played a lot with the Liberator in Fleet Viewer. That's it's exactly what you're describing, and it is even an anvil ship.
Yeah.
Sure. It's that's. Yeah,
it's the Liberator.
Not only could CIG do that, they would.
Yeah. I think we may see more versions of the Liberator from other manufacturers too. A Drake version of that, an RSI version of that, especially with different roles, like some that's more combat based, some that's more purely civilian based, which is for transporting ships rather than just like taking them to combat zones and such. But
I think eventually, aren't they just going to make it so that every manufacturer has like every gameplay loop, like a ship for every gameplay loop?
I think they certainly could.
Yeah,
because that's what it's like seeming like with every release of ship that they come out with for each manufacturer.
Yeah, I don't think they're necessarily like they don't need to have, for instance, like a luxury ship from Drake. Doesn't mean they'll not make a luxury ship from Drake. I would love to see
what that would look like.
More duct tape.
Yeah, it could definitely happen, but I don't see it happening. Then again, I didn't see that Misk getting a racing ship.
True.
Could we see I don't know an Anvil or an Aegis racing ship or luxury ship? Sure, but that doesn't necessarily mean we would. But Origin industrial ships. So I don't think it'll necessarily, but there's no reason why they couldn't do that. So, all right, this is the last question from Paul 56S, who asks,
"Oh my goodness gracious!
Other than the Aurora and Mustang Alpha starter packs, what ships do you think they could put to the basic? They say $54 starter pack to encourage new players to join, though it is $45 in the US. It is varies depending on where you are. So the basic,
yeah,
the basics,
he's in the UK.
The basic starter packs for new players to join. I'll start off with this one because I think that I have a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. All ships that are starter ships are between $45 and $60 because the game will eventually sell for $60. Eventually, the Auroras and the Mustangs will go up in price or the starter package will, and eventually, instead of buying a package with the ships when Star Citizen is released, whenever that is, sometime between now and the heat death of the universe, they'll, instead of buying a package, you buy the game, and the game will come with your choice of ships: the Aurora, the Mustang, the 100, the Cutter, and so on and so forth. So you'll actually have an options to choose from when you start off. My hope is that if you choose something like an Aurora, which is fundamentally worse than, say, a Cutter, you will also get a bunch of bonuses for that. So you like get an Aurora and then like a bunch of extra money. And if you want to choose the better ships, you can, like say an Avenger, but you don't start off with that extra money. Because we know that CIG will eventually raise the price to $60. The standard $60 price tag in the US, which is becoming $70. But I don't know if they'll change that, but that sort of situation. But yeah. What do you think, Dar? Do you think what other could they put into the basic 54 starter pack to encourage new players to join? What other ships?
I mean, I think the Cutter is the perfect, like, really basic do-it-all ship now. I'd love to, it is, what is it, 50? The starter pack is 60, I think. But I think I don't think there is a future. I'm gonna your tinfoil hat theory.
Okay.
I don't think there is a future where they're not gonna sell ships in Star Citizen. I know they've said that that's their plan. Oh, we're only, when we release, we're not going to sell ships anymore. They make a lot of money selling ships. And, I don't see them doing that. I think it would just completely hamstring their income, and, they need money to make the video game.
Yeah.
I do like the idea that you buy Star Citizen and you can pick from this variety of ships. I mean, you can kind of do that now, but having it be an in-game thing would be interesting. But yeah, I don't see them ever stopping ship sales.
I didn't mean to imply that they'll stop ship sales, and I do think that they'll have other like sell ships and also other packages that are more expensive than the starter package, which comes with their own variety of ships. I just mean like right now you buy like the Aurora starter package, the Mustang starter package, the 100i starter package, whatever. I think they'll have a basic gameplay package, which will have a variety of ships you choose from, which will be the $60 price tag. And they might have an advanced starter package, which is $80, which has like the choices like the Reliant or the 300i or the Gladius or whatever, those sorts of price range ships in there as well.
I think that's a great idea. I think they should do that now.
They should, honestly, but
they actually should. Yeah.
Real KG, what do you think? What other ships do you think should be in that like 54, the $45, the basic starter pack range, like the starter packs?
I think it should just stay between like the Aurora, Mustang, Cutter, kind of maybe 100i. Because any of the other ones, like they charge what, $100, $80 to $100 for the ones that are a little bit larger than the starter ships.
Well, the Titan is 60, I think.
Yeah, I think the Titan should honestly be like in the $60 starter package.
Yeah.
And it would be sick if they had a Kruger starter ship as well, around the $60 range.
That'd be perfect. Yeah. Someone in chat also said the C8X, the Pisces.
Oh yeah, the C8Xs. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Titan's now $70 USD.
Yeah,
it was 65.
Yeah, and chat's saying Cutter isn't $45, but I think that's what they're saying. If you could put the Cutter at $45, if you could lower some of those money, some of that down. But I think the question is probably less of what they're not going to lower the ship prices. I'd love for them to, but I think it's more likely that what we'll see now will increase and rather than go down.
I'd like to see them continue to improve the Mustang and the Aurora more than replace them. They're kind of iconic ships at this point, and I mean, with the little cargo pod that the Mustang got, it's much more viable now. And the Aurora, even in 318, they just made it so you don't have an animation to get in. You just kind of walk in, and that's nice. I mean, the Aurora interior needs a lot of help. The little coffin bed just doesn't make any sense, and it's weirdly buggy, and it's an old ship. It needs some love, but I would love to see those two starters get some love, because they're just they're pretty neat ships if they got brought up to standard a little bit.
Yeah. All right, that was the last question for today. Thank you too much to KG and Dar for coming in and joining us for this session. If you enjoyed this, if you're watching this well after the fact, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're checking out The Real KG on Twitch. And yeah, make sure you join us live, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays. Love to hear your own thoughts, have your questions, and as always, your thoughts down below. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.